All right, hello everyone. So in this video, I'm gonna do a little driving tour of the '69 Dodge Dart Swinger. This one has a Slant 6, as all of my stuff does for the most part, with the Hyperpack intake and some other go fast goodies. Originally, when this car was delivered from the factory, it would have not had a radio. Someone added the radio in before I acquired the vehicle back in the late 90s. The reason I know it had no radio is there's no radio, there's no R code on the fender tag, and there's no R code in the build sheet. So this would have been a bare bones stripper '69 Dart Swinger with no radio. Only option it really had was the two-tone paint, which I'll show you here in a little bit, which is factory, and it had a 225 instead of a 170. Other than that, it doesn't really have any options. It's no power steering, no power brakes, no light package, no convenience package, no extra trim or anything, rubber mat for the floor. Now this would have come with a 3-speed on the tree shifter handle. That has been deleted by me a long time ago, and I put an A33 4-speed in with the proper sheet metal shifter hump, if you want to call it that, and the proper bell housing and all that stuff to make it work. So a lot of times when I take this car to a show, I'll get some uneducated people that'll come up here and they'll tell me, oh, this had a vinyl top. No, it didn't. When I received the car, it still had the original paint. It was really weathered. It was from Virginia. Had the original paint still on it, and the two-tone is verified by the codes on the fender tag and the broadcast sheet. If we go and take a look at the fender tag here, we've got T5, which I believe is the roof color, copper metallic, and T3 for 1969 Dodge, which would be the bronze metallic, which is the body color here. So I've got a reproduction Hyperpack intake on here. This is one of the Dr. Dodge Doug Dutra castings. So not a Clifford, not an Australian one, but the one of Doc's reproductions from the mid to early 90s. I do not have the Hyperpack exhaust headers, if you want to call them that, or split exhaust manifolds. It has head work done to it. It's got 1.6 roller rockers, and it's still running the carburetor. You can't see it under there. Everybody always asks me what carburetor that is. It's a Carter 500 AFB. It's a little dirty, but that's the basics of it. Okay. Yeah, let's take a look at the carburetor, I guess. We'll take this off. Now there's a little bit of trickery to make this work without cutting the hood bracing out. So the idea with this car when I built it in the 90s when I was a teenager was I wanted it to look like a 340 Swinger, but without the 340. So it's got, of course, the flat hood, no power bulges, no valve covers in the hood there, like you'd see on a 340 Swinger from 1969. So I kind of reproduced the 340 4-barrel, but changed it, of course, to 225. And it's bored 60 over, so it's more like a 232 now. So this is kind of what makes that work, is a really short K&N air filter, and underneath doesn't look all that pretty. You know, this is one of those $5 swap meet finds, and you make it work for your situation. But there's the carb I run, And on this particular vehicle, I run it with the primaries and secondaries going east-west rather than north-south. Which, when the carb's set up this way on the Slant 6, it's not as good for drag racing because the fuel bowls are not set up for all the fuel to slosh to the rear bowl. So basically this, sometimes we'll have a jet that might get uncovered, or the fuel distribution's uneven. So you always have some sort of problems when you're, or not problems, I guess it's more like compromises with the 4-barrel carburetors on these inlines, because if you turn them this way, you know, you've got the primaries here and it's like feeding more into 1 through 3 rather than 4 through 6. So there's always going to be some fuel distribution issues, I would say, on these 4-barrel intakes. And if you turn it this way, you know, you get some drag strip problems. It might make linkages easier. Now, of course, I don't have an automatic transmission, so I don't need to worry about kickdowns or anything like that. If I did have an automatic, I'd probably run a low car. There's no reason to run a mechanical linkage. I would just have a cable there. I've upgraded it to the 4-piston factory-style disc brakes. It still has the factory drums in the back, has an 8 3/4 now, but like I said, my goal with this car was to try to make it as close to a 340 swinger without actually having a 340. And I know for some people, when you look at one of these little darts, you would think, well, why would you not want to have the 340? Because I just never was interested in that. That's a fantastic engine platform. I just didn't have the money when I was a kid, and I really grew fond of building these engines and just kind of making them almost equivalent to a V8 in terms of street performance. It's got a larger radiator. That radiator is out of like a 75 Dart with air conditioning. I changed it to a Volare style Diplomat F-body Slant 6 with air conditioning, 5-blade fan, and this vehicle has the room for the fan clutch rather than having the 7-blade solid fan on there. So a little bit bigger radiator capacity always helps, never hurts with this stuff. And then we kind of complete the look out here with the Swinger 340 or GTS style exhaust tips. So we'll start it up and have a little listen to what it sounds like with the idle through the mufflers. This car has the Mopar Performance 528 lift cam currently installed. And these Hyperpacks don't run real well when they're cold. So fortunately today, it's sort of a nice day, or at least it was. It's kind of cloudy now, but you know, that's kind of the exhaust sound. I have it going through stock type muffler, so it's not real loud, which is nice because when you're actually driving the vehicle, you can still almost have a conversation and talk to the passengers inside. All right, so we'll go for a little drive here, and you can get some driving impressions. This car actually handles really pretty well too, so we'll take it on some twists and turns.